EQ is an important tool when you're setting up a mix. You can use it to correct sounds from cheap microphones and to compensate for acoustic problems at a venue. EQ can be really effective, but to make it work you have to use it with restraint. First, try to get the sound right at the source. Use the best microphones you can get and learn to position them so that singers or acoustic instruments sound right before you feed them into the desk. Of course, things are never perfect at a live gig, and sometimes EQ is the only weapon you have to fix the sounds coming off the stage. Fixed EQ controls are just like the ones on a domestic hi-fi amplifier. In the center position, they don't have any effect. Turn them right to boost the signal, and turn them left to cut it. There are only two bands, high and low. As EQ sections go, this is a pretty simple one to operate, but don't be fooled by the simplicity. If you overuse this kind of EQ, you could easily make things worse rather than better. There's a drawback with fixed EQ, which is that if you want to work on a particular sound, the punch of a bass drum or the ring of a cymbal for example, you won't be able to focus the EQ on the exact frequency. In fact, you can only boost or cut a pretty huge part of the audio spectrum, and you'll end up changing much more of the sound than you might want to. On the other hand, if you just want to add a little warmth or sparkle to a sound, then as little as a quarter of a turn of the knob should do the trick, especially with low frequencies like bass guitars and bass drums. You can keep yourself out of trouble if you remember, always cut rather than boost where possible. A mid-sweep equalizer can also cut and boost frequency bands, but the mid-band is movable, so it can be tuned in to the frequency you're working on. This makes it a much more versatile type of EQ than fixed band. Here's how you use it to get rid of unwanted sounds. Turn the gain up on the mid-frequency section. Sweep the frequency around until you locate the aspect of the sound you want to modify. Find the exact spot where it sounds most annoying. Now rotate the knob from boost to cut. Choose the amount of cut that sounds best. Even a small amount of cut can have a hugely beneficial effect. Remember that EQ is actually frequency selective gain. Whenever you're boosting a frequency band, there's an increased danger of feedback, so just make sure any channels with open but unused mics are closed, and that the amplifier levels in the auditorium aren't too high.